Jake Paul might be the hot new thing in the boxing scene, but let's be honest, when you stack him up against Mike Tyson, it's like comparing a spark to a full-blown wildfire. Sure, Tyson might not be in his prime anymore, but according to Joe Rogan, that man's punches are still like getting hit by a truck. Rogan doesn't care that Paul is younger or that his boxing career is just taking off. To him, it's all about Tyson's sheer power, which he believes hasn't faded as much as people think. Even though some might view this fight as a total mismatch, Rogan is placing his bets on Tyson to show the world that he's still got what it takes to knock out anyone who dares to step into the ring with him.
There's not a fucking chance in hell that Jake Paul would survive against the Mike Tyson that beat Marvis Frazier. You ever watch that fight?
Yeah.
That's my favorite Mike Tyson fight because that was Mike Tyson before he won the title. It was ABC Wide World of Sports, and Joe Frazier had been talking shit about Tyson, that he was in his prime, he'd beat Tyson, and so he had his son fight Tyson, and it was an execution.
Joe Rogan isn't losing any sleep over Mike Tyson's age, even though the legendary boxer is now 58. In fact, Rogan is all about the idea that Tyson is still Tyson. Age be damned. He's not just talking out of nowhere either. Tyson's been working with none other than Rafael Cordero. Rogan's practically giddy when he talks about seeing Cordero holding mitts for Tyson. He points out that even after all these years, Tyson's punches are still something to be afraid of. The way Rogan sees it, the power behind Tyson's strikes proves he's still got what it takes to deal some serious damage in the ring. Joe Rogan couldn't help spilling even more details about Mike Tyson. According to Rogan, we're living in a world where hormone replacement therapy and fancy vitamins are all the rage, and Tyson's definitely reaping the benefits. But that's not all. Rogan let slip that Tyson's team has been pulling out all the stops with advanced recovery techniques, including some high-tech stuff like electrical muscle stimulation. Rogan claims that during Tyson's prep for the Roy Jones Jr. fight, they didn't just stick to the basics. Nope. They went full-on science mode, using the latest and greatest to keep Tyson in fighting shape. Rogan's convinced that despite Tyson's age, he's still got enough firepower to make anyone think twice about stepping into the ring with him.
And I submit that Mike Tyson, the Mike Tyson that won the title against Trevor Berbick, the Mike Tyson that beat Larry Holmes, I think that Mike Tyson is the best heavyweight of all time. I don't think anybody fucks with him. It just, he didn't maintain that form, and he wound up losing to Buster Douglas, and, you know, I look at fighters when they're in their absolute prime.
So while Jake Paul might be riding high on his recent victories, Rogan's dropping hints that he might be in for a rude awakening if he dares to face Iron Mike. After all, age might just be a number, but power? That's something Tyson has in spades, no matter how many birthdays he's had. Ever since Jake Paul strutted into the professional boxing world, there's been a lot of buzz, and not all of it is flattering. Rumor has been flying around that Paul might not be keeping things entirely natural. Now, with his much-hyped match against the one and only Mike Tyson just around the corner, the talks have only gotten louder. People are speculating, and it's not just the fans anymore. Medical experts are now weighing in on the whole situation.
He can fight.
Yeah.
But if that Mike Tyson from Marvis Frazier fought Jake Paul's dead. He's dead. He's not going to make it. So you have to say, how much has Mike Tyson lost from that 20-year-old guy in the 37 years since then, which is crazy. It'll be 38 by the time they fight. He'll have turned 58 by the time they actually fight.
Yeah, but that's the best it gets, right?
The best it gets.
Best it gets. After 37 years, you got to feel like yeah, he's lost some, but
he hasn't lost everything. He hasn't lost everything.
Yeah.
If you see him hit those pads,
absolutely,
he has not lost everything.
But let's talk about the fans for a second. They're not just rolling their eyes at Jake's bravado. Some of them are downright horrified that he's even thinking about stepping into the ring with Iron Mike. And can you blame them? Tyson isn't just some random opponent. He's a living legend. The idea of him getting back in the ring at his age has a lot of people clutching their pearls and asking, is this really a good idea? After all, Tyson's been through it all. Years of grueling fights, a lifetime of wear and tear, and the usual aches and pains that come with getting older. The combat sports community has been practically in a tizzy over this. There's this undercurrent of concern that maybe, just maybe, that Tyson shouldn't be doing this at this stage in his life. Sure, he's still a powerhouse, but is it worth the risk? It's a juicy mix of admiration, concern, and a bit of skepticism that's making this whole showdown feel like a ticking time bomb. So while Jake might be all about the headlines and hype, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes, and everyone's holding their breath to see how it all plays out.
He's been with me for 2 fights.
But you got to address it, Mike.
I did address it. I addressed it in the ring.
Why did you do that, though, Mike? I mean, was that the proper response?
Look at me. I gotta go home. My kids gonna be scared of me. Look at me, man. Holy you get mine.
Are you here to protect Mike from the press?
No, I was here to protect the press from Mike.
And just when you thought the drama couldn't get any juicier, along comes former MMA fighter Dylan Dennis, stirring the pot like only he can. On August 6th, Dennis decided to drop a little bombshell on social media. A close-up photo of Jake Paul's face, speckled with acne, and captioned it with a snarky, "Steroids are bad, kids. Talk about throwing shade." But this wasn't just some random Instagram troll moment. The pic caught the eye of some serious professionals. Dr. Stuart Fisher, a New York-based physician, took one look at the photo and raised an eyebrow. He told the Daily Mail that, yes, this kind of acne can indeed be a red flag when it comes to steroid use. Apparently, pumping your body full of those kinds of substances can do a real number on your skin, breaking down its natural defenses and leaving it wide open to all sorts of issues. Not to mention, steroids can send your hormones into a tailspin, which could explain the breakouts and even hair loss. Tom Coughlin, a sports performance nutritionist who's seen it all, chimed in to say that Jake might just have a pretty good reason to be dabbling in steroids, especially if he's trying to keep up that edge in the ring. He pointed to Jake's TKO win against Mike Perry as a possible case in point. After all, if you're going to step into the ring with a legend like Mike Tyson, you might want every advantage you can get, legal or otherwise. It's no wonder this fight is shaping up to be more than just a boxing match. It's a full-blown soap opera.
Speaking of bumps,
went right over it.
those little bumps you had on your face kind of alarmed me. You wouldn't be happening to taking PEDs, are you?
Listen, if you want to build in excuses right now,
No, I'm just
go
asking.
ahead.
Because I was just wondering. I
Go
looked at
ahead.
your face, it looked kind of serious. You had some rage and you acting all unorthodox. You know, those are signs of the PEDs.
I'll give you guys the answer early. Is Jake Paul natural? No. I can say that with pretty certain confidence in that statement.
Jake Paul isn't exactly being scrutinized like your typical pro athlete, especially when it comes to the whole steroid conversation. And while the experts aren't ready to point fingers just yet, they aren't exactly brushing off the rumors either. But let's get one thing straight. Without actual tests, there's no solid proof Jake's juicing up. Still, that hasn't stopped the chatter. These rumors have been swirling around Jake for a while now. Remember when UFC's bad boy, Nate Diaz, straight up accused him of using steroids last year? That was a pretty bold move. And it gets even juicier. Just this past June, Jake's own brother, Logan Paul, got in on the action. In what can only be described as one of the most awkward family moments ever caught on camera, Logan hooked Jake up to a lie detector and popped the question everyone's been dying to ask. "Are you on performance-enhancing drugs?" Jake replied, "If taking Viagra counts, then yes, it's performance-enhancing, brother." Talk about dodging the question. But when he finally gave a flat-out no, the lie detector test confirmed he was telling the truth, or at least that's what the proctor said. But let's be real, this is Jake Paul we're talking about. Whether you love him or hate him, he knows how to keep people guessing and the headlines rolling. And with this whole steroid saga still lingering in the background, it's just one more reason people can't stop talking about his upcoming fight.
Are you Ryan Garcia? Sorry. Are you on PEDs?
What do you mean by that?
Are you on performance-enhancing drugs?
If taking Viagra counts, then yes. It's performance enhancing, brother.
I'm gonna need a yes or a no.
No.
That's true.
Lucky you. Let's see how your B samples come back, brother.
There was no A samples.
It seems Mike Tyson's camp has been nudging him with a little strategy that could be his golden ticket against Jake Paul, those short, sweet 2-minute rounds. The fight might be a full-on professional match, but it's set to feature 6 rounds of just 2 minutes each instead of the usual 3-minute bouts. Despite being 58 years old and a full 3 decades older than Jake, some people are betting that Iron Mike's knockout power hasn't fizzled out one bit. Timothy Bradley, a former world champion himself, isn't shy about it either. He's practically giddy with excitement, saying, "Mike Tyson, knock his ass, baby." At first, Bradley thought the whole thing was a bit wild, but then he saw those rules, knockouts, knockdowns. Oh yeah, it's on. Bradley's convinced that this setup is a dream come true for Iron Mike. Jake Paul made it clear that when it came to his fight with Mike Tyson, it was Tyson who pushed for the bout to be a legit pro fight. No exhibition, no fluff, just a full-on battle with all the stakes. For Tyson, who last fought professionally in 2005 when he retired after a tough bout with Kevin McBride, this isn't his first rodeo since then. Remember, he stepped back into the ring for that 2020 exhibition match against Roy Jones Jr., which ended in a draw. But this time, it's all about making it official, with both Tyson and Paul agreeing that the winner takes it all. Mike Tyson wanted it to be a pro fight. Netflix wanted it to be a pro fight, so I agreed to make it a pro fight. Winner takes all, Jake confidently declared after the fight was officially announced. Tyson echoed the sentiment, saying, "Yes, it's a real fight with Jake Paul." Meanwhile, the UFC's own Michael Chandler is crossing his fingers that Tyson can take down the YouTube star turned boxer. Initially, this match was supposed to go down on July 20th, but Tyson had to hit the pause button due to an ulcer flare-up, pushing the bout to November 15th. Despite the skepticism surrounding Jake Paul's credentials, the social media star stepped into the ring with Mike Perry, towering over him by a solid 20 pounds and a few inches to boot, and walked away with a TKO victory. A win, sure, but was it really that impressive? On the other hand, we have Mike Tyson, who made his much-hyped comeback in 2020, squaring off against Roy Jones Jr. in what many called a glorified sparring match, rather than a full-blown fight. Yet even then, Tyson showed glimmers of the raw power and aggression that earned him the title of the baddest man on the planet. Now, as the showdown between Tyson and Paul inches closer, the burning question remains. Can Tyson, at 58, reach deep into his bag of tricks and summon the fury that once made him a living legend? Or will the scales tip in favor of Jake Paul, who benefits from all the modern perks of today's fight game? Advanced training, cutting-edge recovery methods, and nutrition plans that would make any old-school fighter green with envy. The boxing world is split. Some believe Paul's youthful vigor and access to these new-age tools could be just enough to give him the upper hand.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Beautiful. 30 seconds. That's good. Boom. Short, what you want, I got what you need. I'm all the way up. I'm all the way up. I'm all the way up. All the way up.
What you doing today?
Just getting that warm up. We got upper body. Nice little pump, you know. Get that strength up.
Yes, sir. That's the one.
The upcoming fight is shaping up to be the ultimate collision of boxing's past and present, with fans eagerly awaiting to see if Mike Tyson can still deliver those earth-shattering knockouts that defined his legendary career. Will Iron Mike, even at 58, show that his fearsome power and ferocity are truly ageless? Or will Jake Paul, riding the wave of his youthful energy and crazy training, manage to eclipse one of the most iconic figures in the sport? The world will be watching closely to see if Tyson, a name synonymous with brute force and intimidation, can tap into that primal rage one more time. On the flip side, if Paul manages to defeat a titan like Tyson, it could solidify his surprising rise in the boxing world. Either way, this fight promises to be more than just a regular match. Thanks for watching.